Welcome. I am Sister Who. Today I wanted to address the basic question word of where, which appears within the introduction to this television show, in which I'm standing next to a signpost that says, "You are here." And then I look around because there is nothing to tell me where here is. There's no map, no name, it's just a crossing of a couple paths with a sign that says "You are here." Well, in a sense, we are wherever we are. So "you are here" is a statement that could apply to every moment of every life for every person. The challenge at that point is to figure out where here is. And there's so many different ways we can interpret the question word "where," that it's much more than just naming a geographical location. It could, well, if you're naming a geographical location, you could use a common name. You could use longitude and latitude, which I suspect most people wouldn't understand. I don't know what latitude or longitude I'm at the present time. I just know that I'm within the Denver metro area of Colorado. Someone who does cartography or map making on a regular basis would probably know roughly what longitude and latitude Denver, Colorado is located at. But that's one of the ways that where can be described. But even that shows that there are different ways to describe the geography, because that's where we get back into language. How do we express the question of "where am I"? Does it mean I want the longitude and latitude? Does it mean I want to know a common name for where I am, the Denver metro area, or something that somebody would recognize? That, of course, depends on who we're talking to. If we're talking to an engineer or a map maker who recognizes longitude and latitude, then giving those numbers would probably mean something. If we're talking to someone who's concerned with weather, we might instead describe where we're located by the things that affect the weather. One of the things about Denver, Colorado, for example, is that we're very close to the mountains, and a lot of the weather systems that pass through here behave strangely because they get to the mountains and sometimes they go over and sometimes they don't. But the mountains being in such close proximity to Denver makes the winds do different things than they would other places, than, for example, somewhere in the middle of Nebraska where everything is very flat. Weather behaves differently. And so when I'm talking to a weatherman and he says, "Where are you?" I would say, well, I'm right where the Arctic winds and the mountains and whatever converge. Obviously, I haven't studied meteorology, and so I don't know what the answer to that question would be. But the point is that you can describe where in so many different ways. And again, it depends on to whom are you talking. What language will you use? If you're talking to someone from a foreign country, you may even have to figure out how you would translate your native language into terms that they would understand. That's a whole nother level. Another way that the question "where" becomes very pertinent for all of us is the way it can designate a particular moment of a progression. When someone says, for example, "Where are you in your educational process?" You would say, well, I've finished high school and I'm in college, or I'm working on a master's degree, or I've been out of school for 5 years, or something like that. Where has now become a non-physical point within time. It's still a clear sense of where, though, because when the person asks where you are in your educational process and you say, "I'm 6 months away from completing my bachelor's degree," they have a sense, hopefully, of where you are in the process, especially if it's someone who has already accomplished a bachelor's degree for themselves and maybe working on their master's degree. Or maybe it's a professor who has been writing the curriculum for his class, and he knows that particular parts of a curriculum have to be presented at different parts of the educational process, that there are certain things he would teach to a junior in high school that are different from the things he would teach to a freshman in college. And so by asking the question, "Where are you in your educational process?" he gets a sense of what information he could provide that would be helpful to you. That's a very different way of using the question word where. But there are all sorts of other progressions too. Where are you in developing your new family? My spouse and I were married 6 months ago. We hope to adopt or have children somewhere within the next 2 years. Where are you in your career pursuit? Well, I started 6 months ago in a new profession. I'm considered an entry-level worker, or on the other hand, I've been in my current profession for 10 years. I have worked up to the management level and am hoping to purchase my own franchise in a similar line of business within the next 5 years. All of these things, they're progressions in time. They're not geographical places, but they're still things that come to mind when somebody asks, so where are you in whatever process? Where are you in your process? Where are you geographically? Yeah, and there's even more levels beyond that the question word where can still invite as we're communicating with each other, as we're having a relationship with each other.